feel like our bodies they tell a story. The scars, the places that we've been wounded and we've healed over again. Whenever we go through trauma, whenever we go through things that we haven't had the ability to process, to really sit with and feel and hold ourselves in, we've kind of skipped over to, let's just cover it up. But it also creates a safety to do so that it, in revisiting and connecting back into that and sitting with, doesn't re-traumatize us. You could do that with talk therapy, but if a person hasn't been taught how to hold themselves, how to have a foundational place of safety within their nervous system, they're not going to go deep.
Well, because they can't. Okay, well, hey, thank you for letting me interview you today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course. So will you tell everybody just kind of a little bit about you and what you do?
Oh, man. So yeah, a little bit about me, like on a personal level or professional or both?
I both would be great.
Okay. So a little bit about me. I feel like I've done just about anything and everything. I'm, in my mid to late 40s, so that's given me a lot of life experience time.
Mhm.
And I am currently on my second career. Yep, second career. So the first part was I graduated with my first master's from the University of Georgia with a master's of ed. And then I went through a big shift and was like, I don't like the corporate world, so massage therapy school it is. And yeah.
Love that. I love that transition.
Yeah. Well, I'm the middle kid, so that's what I did. And my parents were like, oh, we don't even know right now. So I went in and I actually did something that I felt called to do. And I graduated from the Atlanta School of Massage, did massage therapy for about 16 years, did the stay-at-home mom thing, did that on the side for a while, and love it. I have a history. I was a Division I athlete at Georgia, and so I loved working with people, working with injuries, helping people get back on their feet. And while I was doing that, I discovered the kind of the emotional part of it. And also there is a spiritual part of the body and what it houses and the experiences it lets us live through. And so I had always looked at John Barnes, who is the kind of the father of myofascial release. I always got these postcards and I wanted to go study with him. I'm like, this looks interesting. And also that guy looks like a really interesting dude to study with. And so I just couldn't justify it. I was in the throes of just raising 3 young children, and that was my duty, my job. And finally, after the kids started getting older and I kind of got over myself with the whole martyrdom of, I don't have a job. I can't justify going and doing something for me or investing in this. I went and studied with John, and it was one of the best decisions I've made. It changed my life. And when I came back from the first training, I shifted my entire practice from neuromuscular, heavy-handed elbows, massage therapy to this myofascial release therapy. And
Still use your elbows. Let's be real.
I do, but I feel like they're a little nicer.
Okay.
They're a little more attuned to the body rather than just kind of raking through. They're still pretty sharp.
Yeah. I can attest to that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I came back and I didn't look back because this modality, it presented more long-term benefits. And it also started tapping into and creating space for people to explore what they were holding in their body. Trauma patterns in the body. And so it was fascinating to me.
So I was actually just going to ask a question about that because Can you explain how myofascial release works to help release trauma?
It's really hard because it's different for everyone. Trauma, I feel like, has turned into this overused term. It can mean anything. I mean, trauma to a 2-year-old can be like, they fell down on their butt. But an adult looking at that's like, it's not a big deal. So trauma is kind of a subjective term
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes overused, but the premise is that it kind of joins in with Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Mm-hmm.
So when things happen to us that overwhelm our nervous system or something that we perceive as a threat, if we don't kind of go through a cycle of processing that and coming to terms with it, it can present kind of, we do this process of establishing a functional pattern in the nervous system that reflects in the body of either how to avoid that pain in the future, whether it's how we, like if we have an injury in our body, we can change the way we walk. We can shift our weight a certain way. And that becomes a program in the nervous system that kind of is subconscious after a while. It's just what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Same with emotional patterning or emotional responses to trauma. We don't like pain. And so we do things and we establish behaviors and a way of being and thinking that avoids that pain in the future. It becomes a subconscious pattern. And so what myofascial release does is it taps into this system that physically we've always looked at cadavers, they're dead bodies, they're no longer living, there's no life force or consciousness in these bodies. So trying to study the fascial system with cadavers, it just looks like packing material. It's like trying to study trees by cutting a telephone pole in half. You're not going to get what you are looking for, and it's not it's not a accurate portrayal of what it is, the potentiality of what it really truly is. And so surgeons, Jean Gimbarteau he's a surgeon, and he started studying the fascial system in living patients and discovered that the tissue actually responds to chemical changes in the body, which the brain is the dispensary, and other organs of different chemicals throughout the body. And so the fascia tightens up, releases, constricts, according to chemicals, emotions that accompany the chemicals, neurological responses to the external environment. The fascia is in constant motion and flexion, and John Barnes figured out a way to tap into the fascial system and allow it to release, to unwind, and to respond by giving it light, sustained pressure.
It's just so crazy.
That's the elementary version.
I love the elementary version. So how do you feel like breath work and body-based therapies can help clients really just reconnect with their strength and their personal stories? And I'm also going to take my glasses off every time we talk. I'll just put them on when I read the questions.
Got it.
5 minutes.
All good. So I feel like our bodies they tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the scars, the places that we've been wounded and we've healed over again. And breath work does the same thing. Breath work helps and body work. Whenever we go through trauma, whenever we go through things that we haven't had the ability to process, to really sit with and in and feel and hold ourselves in, we've kind of skipped over to, let's just cover it up. John says time buries all wounds. It doesn't heal all wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, myofascial release and breath work helps us go back and return to the scene and not only look at what happened and also the effect it had on our nervous system, the way it changed what we believe about the world, but it also creates a safety to do so, so that it in revisiting and connecting back into that and sitting with doesn't re-traumatize us.
Mm-hmm.
We sit with from a place of a safety we've created in our vessel to be able to do that on a very deep level. You could do that with talk therapy, but if a person hasn't been taught how to hold themselves, how to have a foundational place of safety within their nervous system, they're not going to go deep.
Right. Well, because they can't.
Well, they can't. No, they can't.
Mm-hmm.
That's really true growth. It mirrors kind of the chaos theory, right? Where you're wanting to create change, but to create change, you have to untether the coping strategies you've hot wired around the wound or what happened that helped you survive it. But you have to unravel it. And a lot of times the body won't tolerate the unraveling because it doesn't feel safe.
Well, and I think it's interesting how you were just talking about scars a minute ago too, because when you worked on my C-section scar, I didn't even think even sort of kind of that was trauma or that there was anything trauma related or connected to it. It was just like I had this big giant baby and he got to get cut out of my stomach. But like, the emotion that came with that still was so surprising today.
Yeah, it is. And also, it's surprising, but what did it do for what you knew? I mean, as a therapist, you know that there's a connection,
Yes.
but it's different when you are in it
Mm-hmm.
with someone supporting you and you're like, holy shit, this is not theory.
Right. This is crazy shit and it's working.
And it's happening. And this is what this feels like. It's powerful. I didn't know. And I'm so thankful for the way I was trained. The way John trains us is you're in it, your shit's up, and also your life is going to shift too. You're going to go through possibly the chaos and the realignment and the reorganization on the higher level that chaos theory talks about, because you need to be able to hold people in all the spaces. And if you can't hold yourself, you can only take yourself as far as you're willing to go. And so sometimes I'll look up and I'll see someone's neck light up. It's a birth trauma from where the cord got wrapped around the neck. It's the body remembering what happened and releasing it up in the throat.
When you say light up, what does that look like? What does that mean?
So we call it a vasomotor response. And so, for example, when I'm sometimes working in where the pelvis is in the pelvic area or in the abdomen or really anywhere, a restriction that because the fascial system is prolific and it goes through everything and it's one continuous sheath, other restrictions that are related can turn red, or there can be a rush of blood flow to that area. And we call that a vasomotor response. It's where everything kind of, the dilation, blood flow to that area. And so we know that that's related, and most likely it's releasing, or we need to go check that area out next. So I would move to the throat area.
Which is always fun when you do that too.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So anytime that I have done MFR with you, my throat always has a strong reaction. Is that the same response or is that something different?
It's the same.
Cool.
It's the same, and it's just another story that it's kind of watching different stories surface as we release the body and release the restrictions from the fascial system. We notice it, we move towards it, and we just kind of get curious about it. And it doesn't necessarily always have to have a story. We don't know why sometimes. And that I think is the beauty of myofascial release, because really it's not necessarily they've found it used to be, oh, what happened to you? And then they're moving towards now, well, what meaning do you place on it?
Which is a huge shift.
Exactly. And sometimes, does it really need another story, or do you just need to let go. And in the process, it's the process that is where the juicy part is. It's not the story. It's in your ability to practice what it feels like to let go. Grace.
How hard do you think that is for people? Because so often stories become part of your identity.
Yeah.
So do people try to resist when they are letting go? Or does it just like something hits and it's gone?
Yes. Yes. Well, because I mean, the stories, what they give us certainty.
And
so,
they stuck a lot of times.
both. It's a
Mm-hmm.
blessing and a curse. And so everyone is in a different place on their journey. There are people who have had enough to where that they understand and can feel when they start placing a story on overlaying a story on another one that just has been released. They're like, what am I doing? I don't, you know, my story revolved around me being the victim. And people get to sometimes a place where they're just done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's neither here nor there. It's neither bad nor good. It's just where people are. And that's another wonderful thing about myofascial release is it meets everyone right where they are, It meets you where you are. And where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be in that moment.
Excellent answer. I like that. I like that. All right, let's see. What do we have next? Well, I think we already kind of answered this one, but how can breath work or body work help somebody who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or disconnected?
The foundation is connection. I think we get stuck because we're disconnected from it or we're looking for something outside of ourselves to fix it. And the last place we want to look is within. And so MFR, it's something you actually have to learn how to receive. It's not like massage. It's not passive. It can be.
Mm-hmm.
It eventually may become passive in a way that you're so in tune with your intuition that it becomes easier. But in the beginning, we are so conditioned to push away the intuition. You can't grow without your instincts and intuition. It is not an intellectual process. Our intellect can help guide us and hold a space, but it's truly connecting to the intuition that helps that. The breath work, the myofascial work, it kind of provides a safe place to kind of tap into the limbic system without the need of the prefrontal cortex or going into the default mode network to manage it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So if somebody is just starting out and they've got a lot of fear about the process, does that ever get in the way?
Oh yeah.
So
It
how do
does.
you deal with that?
We don't deal with it. We feel with it. Which the laugh, you have been there, right?
Yes, this is why I'm laughing. Because like anytime I ask you a question and you give me answers like that.
Right. And I think one of my clients says she speaks in rhymes.
Oh, I say that about you all the time. Or riddles.
Oh, that was it. Riddles.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like a riddle because it doesn't give you what that part of your brain that's asking for security and predictability wants.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not where your answer is. It's through experiential stuff. It's through the experience. It's through the fumbling through. You won't be able to navigate through that chaos theory with your intellect.
Mm-hmm.
That is not your compass.
So I actually now agree with you about that. I didn't when I first started this process, but
Yes.
I do now only because I remember at the beginning you told me like, stop questioning it, stop asking questions and just like embrace what is happening. And I couldn't wrap my brain around that until I did. Like I finally one day was just like, I don't care. It works. Like I feel so much better. It doesn't matter. Like none of this matters. What matters is the outcome.
It's the long game of knowing that, okay, I expect the discomfort and also with chaos theory, the way I have wired myself to be safe, I do know that that's not functional anymore. Something has to change.
Mm-hmm.
And then people, when they come in, the people that move the quickest, that move in more drastic ways, are the ones that are in a place where the fear of staying the same is greater than the fear of what they have to let go of and the uncertainty that they're going to face with the change, period. And the beauty of myofascial release is it is not forcing. It never forces. It never imposes. It's a modality that goes right up to the wall, to the resistance, and waits for that resistance to soften. And sometimes that happens to the frustration of the client. And that also is a part of the process. I know. So I've heard. The only reason I've been there. I mean, I've been there. I get it.
Yeah.
But I also, because I get it, it's worth it.
Yes, it's 100% worth it. I thought it was crazy at first, and now I swear by it and want to have all of my clients do it.
Yeah. How many times? Because a lot of people want to know, like, how many times does it take? What would you say to that before you felt really kind of to where you got it?
Oh, that's a really good question. Was it maybe the third time where I can't remember exactly what I remember you were doing something with my knee, and all of a sudden, like these crazy like memories from my childhood came back. And then like there was a memory of a horrible injury that I had where I broke every bone in my right arm, including my elbow. And that scar and like that the visions of that night. And I'm just like, I don't even know what is happening right now, but like it's coming up so fast. And whenever I do it, my memories come back almost like a slideshow or a movie. And I just in that moment was like, fuck it. Like I'm going on the ride. Like whatever this is like here I am. And so I think that was probably our third session. Our first one, I was just so confused and trying to intellectualize everything. Like, let me figure out how this works and clinically. And then I would try to intellectualize, okay, well, like, what part of the body holds this kind of trauma? What part of the body holds that kind of trauma? If I have, because I've got horrible SI joint issues, right? And hips that are weird. And so I'm like, well, what was causing that trauma? And is it this? Or I mean, it's like I just have to stop doing that. You're not going to get anywhere. So by being able to say like I don't know, and I also to your earlier point, like I don't need the story. I just want my SI joint to stop hurting. So really, whatever that means, then let's do that. And so I think that's the same with emotional pain as well.
Yes. And there was a time too where you texted me and you were like, what the hell is going on with my SI joint? It's broken. So there's something wrong with it again. And it really, I mean, it was something a little different. It actually was trying to right itself. Sometimes pain in the body can be the body's attempt to self-correct.
Which I had no idea about until you told me. I think because we're also conditioned that like if you're in pain, something is wrong, not something could be correcting.
It's to me. It's happening to me. It's to me rather than for me and with me. And even if it is a true injury, when it is a true injury, yes, it's something that you're experiencing, but it's communication from your body saying, I need your attention. We're not exactly meaning to do this to you. We're trying to get you to pay attention so that it can be a for and with thing. So you can heal, you can get the attention you need.
Well, and I think a lot of people wait until they start having major health issues to come and see us too. Because if you don't deal with it, you're going to have heart issues. You're going to have chronic pain. You're going to have autoimmune stuff. You're going to have like all the things that your body is going to scream at you until you finally listen, or it's just going to shut down.
And also, do you know, I think we're reaching a threshold where people have been managing their entire lives and they are so tired and over of living a life where they are just managing
Yes.
things. I feel like that was midlife for me. It was like, this is bullshit.
I totally agree. Like something just snaps when we get to a certain age and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like
Yes.
is any of this worth it? And what? And we just kind of we reevaluate everything, which is why like when people I always talk about how they're like so afraid to like be in their 40s. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? My 40s started out real rough. However, because it was so rough, like the coming out the other end of it is so empowering and so much fun and like just not even sweating the small stuff anymore. Like, does that really matter in the big scheme? No, of course it doesn't. And then off we go. It's like midlife is the best.
Yes. And it shifts you from you get tired of being the person that shit is happening to. And then you start demanding and stepping up to the plate and asking things to actually be a partner in not just managing your life, doing more than just managing your life, becoming an active participant in living your life and shaping your life.
Instead of surviving your life.
100%. It's too much energy doing the other.
And we just don't have that in midlife. I don't have the energy for that stuff anymore.
No. And it doesn't work.
No.
It really doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work. It's the illusion that I have it all together. But really, I have it all together on the outside, and I am losing my mind on the inside. I'm exhausted.
And
so, yeah.
Like, for women too, I don't think we understand how exhausted we really are until we don't have another option but to feel it.
Right. Absolutely. Feel it in the body. And that goes along with what I tell a lot of people. I don't even know that many or most of us know what our baseline is anymore. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And by baseline, I mean a calm, centered state where our parasympathetic nervous system is engaged. We're out of fight or flight. I don't know that any of us know what that feels like because now, I mean, I feel like we're introduced and socialized into that. We're kind of trained into that as children. It's never enough. The hustle culture. There's so much coming at us. But with myofascial release, a lot of people can calm themselves and they do meditation and they do the thing. But a majority of us need help finding that baseline again. Because every time we're inundated with something, we have to raise our functionality, raise kind of the chaos. We can't control the chaos around us a lot of times, or we don't have the ability to. So all we do is we raise our threshold on what we're able to manage. And before you know it, you're way up here. You've lost yourself. You don't even know who you are anymore beyond your coping strategies. And so myofascial release kind of helps quiet that storm, reconnects you. And sometimes when you take it down, it's when all of those things have to fall away. All of the things keep you in that world where you're managing.
Well, and I think, I mean, at least for me, going through this process, and I need to get back on your schedule, I know, but I haven't had time. Well, and I've been sick for since September, basically. So
Absolutely.
There's been some of that. However, I don't think I knew how to turn off when I first started this process. I think I had forgotten how to do anything but be in fight or flight.
Well, and with me too, even as a practitioner, same. I'm a single mother of 3 children, and I love you, but if you tell me to adjust my environment, it is just not feasible for me. You know that.
I think that's funny when people say that, actually. I'm like, oh, what should I do? Should I up and sell the practice I worked so hard to build? Should I this? Should I that? I mean, that sounds really cute in theory, but that's not realistic for most of us anyway.
No, but and also I can up my level of support to meet the demands of my life. There has to be a happy medium. I can have phases where restoration, I could take breaks, but I also know that I also can bolster up the support I have on my body, my nervous system.
Mm.
I go get worked on regularly by a therapist, and that's my practice, and that's what helps me manage. I practice what I preach. I think it's important to
Absolutely.
have those things that, it's realistic. It's unrealistic to think that we can manage and get rid of the things that press on us on a daily basis.
Well, and how much of healing and releasing is helped by having a good support system?
It's everything.
So for people who will say like it's so hard to make friends in as adults or in midlife, or that they just don't have the support, what advice would you give them?
What do you mean by support? Like social support,
Yeah.
financial support?
Well, let's start with social support, because I think for me at least, like, and we've talked about this before, like when I am at lunch with all of you guys and my girlfriends, and like that is the best therapy in the world, to know that you have these amazing women in your life.
Right. And also, so for me, as my timeline has gone through my life, I have had many transitions, life transitions, where I've gone through that pattern of chaos theory where things die away, things build back better, things die away, things build back better. So, do you feel like you've always had that quality or high level relationships throughout your life? Or is this something that's happened as you have adjusted your embodiment?
That's a very interesting question. I still like, I'm trying to think. So my friendships have been very long-term friendships. Like I still have a friendship from 7th grade. And so, but was that always a healthy relationship? Well, of course not, right? Because we were in high school and like whatever. But
Yeah.
overall, like I feel like I have picked up people along the way that are just like amazing human beings and amazing support.
Yeah. So
But
maybe,
more so now, definitely more so now. Like I have more quantity of amazing humans in my life now than I did back then. But like I've always had like they just pop into my life when I need them.
right. Well, maybe it's not necessarily about who, but what. It
Hmm.
sounds like you have renegotiated. It's been about the renegotiation or the agreement around those relationships and the expectations that has evolved.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's actually a really great way to put it.
And naturally, the ones who can't navigate the renegotiation or don't agree to the terms fall away,
Hmm.
and leaving space for the ones that are like, hell yeah, I'm
Which
all
is
about
so
it. Me
true.
too.
When we were young, and people would always say like, the healthier you get, the healthier you're gonna attract. And we'd be like, whatever, I want the bad boy, or I like the
Yeah.
troublemakers over here, right?
Yeah.
But now like truly seeing like, no, really, like the healthier you get, like for real, like really good happens in your life. Like you attract really good and really healthy.
You do. You do. And they still could be troublemakers, but it sounds like it'd be more fun to be your type of trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
I
at least that's the way it was with me, like,
Yeah.
or at least on the same level.
Yeah, trouble.
And also it's my trust.
Yeah, definitely. I love
So
it. And again, which is why midlife rocks so much.
it really
Yeah.
does.
Because we really just like the negotiations have pretty much been done. And, like we've talked about before, like I will protect my peace at all costs. So if that means you can't be in my world, that means you can't be in my world. It's just that simple.
Yes. And also no hard feelings.
Right. Right. And usually it's like, thank you for teaching me the lesson I needed to learn in this like season. And now you get to peace out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I see that a lot with like think about attachment issues, right?
Yeah.
So the chaotic attachment is textbook. I I want what I want, but my nervous system can't tolerate it. There's almost like this allergy, like I can't tolerate it, so I push it away. And so integrating body work or myofascial release kind of gets curious about what's going on with that. Like, why can't you tolerate it? What's going on in your body? What are the stories that when you do have moving toward, what are you telling yourself a story that is aligned with reality, like with, is it truly unsafe, or is it safe and the discomfort it creates in you feels unsafe because you can't tolerate discomfort. So myofascial release and breath work almost builds like a muscle, the ability for you to expand your window of tolerance to feel discomfort, to sit with rather than avoid. We're all, man, there's so much like, it's like little ninjas moving in avoidance at all times. Like we don't want confrontation until we're forced into it. And really, it could be quite simple. Just get curious about what's going on. And so body work can address the nervous system and the stories in the body that are being informed by outdated programs. These programs are outdated. You don't need them anymore.
Right.
The event is not occurring anymore. It's not happening. You're out of it. So let's figure out how to discharge that, how to find safe discharge of it.
And then you just get to rest and be at peace.
Yeah. Be at peace and finally feels like to trust yourself and have clarity.
So we talk a lot about like being disconnected from our body. So what does that look like when somebody is getting reconnected with their body and coming like and starting to release and unwind and come back into themselves?
It's different for everyone. Sometimes, okay, so I equate it, this is really weird, but I mean, I had 3 deliveries and I felt all of them because they were non-medicated births. So I got to feel what it felt like on a really intense level to go through and to give birth to a person. And sometimes when we go through challenges or we work with trauma, you're almost giving birth to you. You're birthing something new, and there are labor pains. And there are some people who have long, just resistant, very physical labors. There are some who just really have a lot of emotional stuff that comes up. And there are some that it's very quiet and very internal, but just as powerful. So it's different for everyone. Examples of what I see, we call it unwinding, and it's where the body starts to spontaneously move. And if you look at infants, they do it because they're so connected, they're still fully connected to their intuition and instincts. They unwind in the mother's womb. And a lot of that is their nervous system is coming online. They are taking in the external environment. They are processing the hormones and everything that's going through their little bodies from the mother. And so unwinding are these very small, smooth, slow, sometimes movements that are almost like, if you look at it, it's like this slow stretching motion. You're moving into space. That's the only way I can describe it. And sometimes I'll see a person, they'll be moving and unwinding, and they'll stop in what we call a still point. And that's when the nervous system or the limbic system says, this is significant. This position in space is significant. And usually it's the position of trauma. I've had a client that was in a car accident and her arms started to move and lift and she stopped in this position.
Oh, wow.
And I just said, let go of the wheel. And her body started to shake and the emotions started to surface and it released. I was working with an athlete that her body started moving and it did what we call thawing, and it's where the whole fascial system, it needs to rebound or shake or shiver motion to be able to kind of complete a loop that the nervous system and the consciousness needs to do. It's really hard to describe. It's almost like a reclamation and a reconnection and a reorganization in the body. But yeah, with thawing, unwinding, all of that happens in our sessions. And it's an intuitive thing, and it's something that we really don't have the answer to what it is because it's different in everybody.
Does it happen in every session, or do you work up to it?
Neither. No, neither. It doesn't happen in every session, and it's not something that we work up to because healing's not a linear process. It just happens. And so if I feel, so sometimes when I'm holding a person's leg or their arm, I can feel it get lighter, and I know the body is starting to unwind, and I will kind of nudge a little bit. I will nudge into the unwinding, and if the trust is there, then the person will allow the movement. Sometimes the head will go side to side, and the person will know. I'll speak to them and let them know what's happening. And it's like a gas pedal or a brake pedal, right? They can push the brake at any time and stop, or they can take their foot off the brake and allow just the neutral, allow it to happen.
That's so crazy.
It is.
Like the coolest way though. Like it's so cool.
If you think of it though, too, from that perspective, the gas pedal, brake pedal, most of us are either on the gas hard in life or on the brake real hard in life. Most times people who come into therapy have feet on both pedals and they cannot figure out what to do. They don't know what to do. They've got the foot fully on the gas and the foot fully on the brake, and they're either too afraid to take one off the other or don't know how. So talk therapy can help so much, but the body work and the breath work with a person who knows how to facilitate or can hold the space, that's the gift of it. That is where it comes into the healing process. That's where the value is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think doing just talk therapy does a disservice to a lot of our clients because there's so much of just being a human that is traumatic and so deep that there's only so much or so far words can go.
Absolutely. And sometimes, in some of my darkest moments, I thought to myself, there are no answers today. I don't have the answer today. And I had to sit in that, the beauty of body work and connecting into your body and your physical vessel, and also helping the brain get to that, or neurologically getting to that kind of state where you don't have to fix it. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to cover it or mask it. You could tap into that connection with the body and move it and nudge it and work with it without having to have an answer. You don't need an answer.
Well, and I think it's like, at least for me, it has been so helpful that like, there's a lot of answers I'm not going to get.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that just has to be okay. And before, I think like I was very resistant in like, no, I need to know why this person did this to me or why this happened to me or whatever. And I'm just like, it did. What did it do? It helped us to grow. It helped us to become better people, to learn. Like all of these, even our worst traumas can be filled with so much gratitude.
And when you talk about that, like, what were you saying? How can I fix this? How can I get out of this? What are you doing? You're just avoiding pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's an avoidance way of life I just don't want to feel this. And what this helps with, the myofascial and the breath work, it helps you to meet it. Got it. I'm meeting it. How much energy we spend on avoiding it. And when you start a practice that teaches you how to meet it and join with, it's a whole shift.
And it, like, yeah, I keep saying like, it's just so cool. It's just so cool. But it's just so cool.
It is. And I love it because sometimes people are like, I didn't come in because my shit was up. And I tell them, when it is up is when you come in. Step forward, meet it. That's what we're doing. It can hold it. Catharsis, it could hold it. It's a beautiful thing. Quietude, an internal deep process, it can hold it. It's a beautiful thing. It can hold that space for it. So what it does best in conjunction with talk therapy is it can dovetail wonderfully into talk therapy when someone goes into places where they find themselves either stuck by looping and they're trying to get out of it, is what it is, or where they just can't touch it. Like the defense mechanisms are so ingrained and subconscious. They want it, but they just can't touch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I love the idea of talk therapy and myofascial release together. I think that people get very afraid of it because it doesn't make sense on the front end. But when they do it, I just see people heal so much faster when we combine body work or breath work with talk therapy. And then some of the other modalities that we use, like, EMDR and ketamine and IFS and like those types of things. But it's just so important. And I knew that before I did my work. Like,
Yeah.
we can know these things, but like now, like I know these things.
Because it's really not based on your intellect anymore. It's deeper than that. It's the intuition. The intuition is not a theoretical thing. The intuition is actually where our compass lies. The brain is a storage unit. It's based on our past experiences. The intuition is our compass.
Do you find, because I've seen this in my practice, that people are actually really afraid of their intuition?
Yeah, because they're afraid of messing up or what they consider messing up. Pain equals I've messed up. Pain equals you're in a process, period. You either win or you learn. Sometimes it's painful, right? I mean, they avoid MFR. I've avoided MFR. The first couple of times, first couple of trainings, I would walk in and I would just not be able to make eye contact with John because
if you don't see him, he can't see you.
Well, and also I was in this chaos where I was pissed. I was pissed I was healing. I'm pissed at you. I need to direct this somewhere. This has to be put somewhere because right now I'm uncomfortable. And shit I thought I knew is falling away. Even though I know on a deep level this is good for me, I hate this. I don't like this. But I also don't want to give it back.
Right.
And I sat in it. And the wonderful thing is, this guy has been teaching this for close to 50 years. And he knows. It's okay. Don't make eye contact. Here we go. So, been there. But that's how you know it's you're on your way. You're going the right way. You've talked about that with therapy.
Yeah, definitely.
We're working. It's working if this is what you're feeling.
Well, I tell my clients all the time, like, if I don't do a really great job of pissing you off at some point in time, we're not doing the work we need to be doing.
Yes. Otherwise, we're just falling right back into the old templates. But if you're pissed off or uncomfortable or emotional or whatever that looks like for people, you are on the leading edge. You are transcribing new material.
And it's a really cool process to watch. Like when my clients get really mad at me, I'm like, yes, we're there. We're there.
Yes. Yes. Well, there's a saying like the truth will set you free, but at first it will piss you off.
Yes. Yes. No,
I love to hate that saying.
Spoken. I that is like, it's so true.
Yeah. And I rarely say it because the minute I say it, I turn around and I'm like, damn, as therapists, as practitioners, we're human beings too.
And I think we forget about that sometimes.
I'm reminded, I used to not like it, but I like it now that I'm reminded quite often of my humanness.
But now you accept it.
Oh, I walk with it. I walk with that part of me or that aspect of me every day. And it's not from a management. I'm not managing her. I'm in relationship with her.
How hard was it to make that shift?
Oh, hard. But I had no choice. I was put where it was like the universe, God kind of was like, this girl's going to find every ditch unless we narrow the road. Hey, look, you've got very small margins of error here. We have made this to where you can't mess this up. And if you try to, you're going to be checked very, very swiftly and very, very clearly and intensely. So here we go. I don't know if that aligns with anything you've experienced, but
Oh, what do you
shit gets
the
real
answer
really
to that
fast.
question is? Like, yeah, no, I think that aligns.
I mean, I'm thankful for it, but I'm also, I respect it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Let's see what other questions we have. Already talked about that. Wow, we talked about a lot of these things without even looking at the list.
Awesome.
Oh, this is a good one. What's a common myth about body-based therapy and how do you address skepticism?
So body-based therapy historically, I think, has been thought of as indulgent. Oh, I'm indulging, or something you have to be you have to be you have to justify it, or it's a guilty pleasure. No, it is a necessity. The experience you have in this life, if you want to think of it from a consciousness perspective or soul, you can't be here without this physical vehicle. And this physical vehicle determines the quality of your experience. Why in the world would you not take care of it? Would you not invest in the way it functions, in the way you are connected to knowing the feedback it's giving you, and also what it can do? Why would you not? It is not a guilty pleasure. We need to normalize body work to where we don't wait till we're sick. Sometimes it's too late. It's too late. And also by connecting to your body and your intuition, you'll be able to sense when things are off and address it early, right? I think a lot of our physical ailments and illnesses and disease is caused by preventable things.
Oh, absolutely.
And manifestations of unrest and mental and emotional imbalances. But some aren't. Some we don't know where it comes from, but there has been connections made to that. So no, normalizing body work, normalizing taking care of the vehicle. I think that's what's needed now. I think that's the biggest myth, is that it's expendable.
Okay. So then what about the people who are really skeptical? There are a lot of people who don't want to believe that the body keeps the score. And so, well, I don't need that, or that's just that won't work for me. What if I don't do it right?
Yeah, so that won't work for me. It may not be for you. There's other modalities. There are some people that I think in EMDR would be right up your alley. I think, IFS would be it. So not everybody is ready for MFR. Can you work your way through? Yes. Sometimes it's a journey. Sometimes when you meet someone where they are, someone might need to go through EMDR first, or they might need to take a yoga class first to be introduced to the possibility that there's more to life and to their physical body than what they've been taught. Sometimes MFR is not that, I've had people who will lay on the table and they can't get out of their mind. It's hard. And they could, with consistency, with practice, but they've gone and maybe found something that meets them where they are in that moment, like a yoga class or even exercise, the embodiment of movement, helps them connect to their body. We're all different and we have different starting lines.
How do you know when you're ready to start?
That's a great question. If you have a body, it's worth a try. I mean, there are infants who unwind and get myofascial release. The youngest I've worked on is 3-day-old.
Wow.
There are people who have therapists in the delivery room in case there's birth trauma. You can address it early, and the baby will unwind early and self-correct. And it's a beautiful thing. So if you have a physical body, you're ready. I think the question is if your mind can learn, if you can let go, if you're ready to let go. Sometimes that takes practice. So I don't have a good answer for that. The only way to do it is to find out. Come in.
I think that was a great answer, actually. And now I'm thinking about like, just my case alone, but like if somebody would have been a practitioner in the delivery room when I was born, how much of my attachment shit from being adopted would not have followed me.
Right. You never know. I mean, when we were born, though, I think the same thing. And it's not a make bad on like my mom or my parents, but I was born and my mom had been sedated. So when they do these attachments research studies about proximity to the mom and co-regulation with the baby immediately, I mean, you think about like how sterile we made hospitals and the birthing process. We're coming back from it, but the damage it did, it's really, yeah, you could think about like what ifs all day long. We don't know. We don't know because there might have been something later in life.
True. Very true.
But that's where that gets into the story. Like you are who you are based on your experiences, the good, the bad, whatever. And myofascial release and breathwork meets you right where you are. And it doesn't try to erase it. That's actually a great comment that you made about your birth experience. NFR doesn't want to erase it. That's not what it's about. It's about integrating that to find acceptance and peace with who you are as a result of it. It's melding your wounds with who you are to integrate that into acceptance of the present moment and finding peace with that. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. And also, like, and I know I've said this a few times already, but also the gratitude in the gratitude in our story. Not that we're going to hang on to our story forever, but just like I have helped lots of adopted people because I was adopted. Yep. I never planned on being a therapist. And then my brother decided to die. And everything shifted. And it's funny because people will ask me all the time, like, how I can listen to such like traumatic grief cases or just some of the other traumas that I work with. And I always tell them that one, it's like the greatest honor ever for somebody to pick us to walk them through hell and back to life, the land of the living. And also, I explain to them that like the worst thing that has ever happened in my life is losing my brother. To date. And I never thought I would get to a place where I would be so grateful for that because I look at it like he stepped away so that I can help like hundreds, if not thousands of people. And how cool is that? Do I wish he was still here to see all of it? Absolutely. But am I so grateful that because he's not here, I get to do this and it's like the best job in the world and I absolutely love what I do. And I would have never even thought about I would have been a lawyer. I was going to go to law school. And
you made a great lawyer.
Thanks. But I think I like this better.
Yeah. It's like those sliding door moments, right? And this is the path. This is the path you're experiencing. And I think it's worth mentioning that we're not here to erase the trauma. We're not here to justify or negate that it was not okay. Right. Some of the experiences we've lived in, it was shitty. It doesn't change the fact that it was shitty, but it allows someone to turn around and walk towards something without the baggage and the muck of that shitty happening still affecting where they're going. It liberates you. It does not justify the event.
No, never. And that is a good point. In any of the modalities that we do, it never is to erase anything or to not validate what happened. We just don't want to keep carrying what happened and the effects of that with us forever.
Yeah. It just helps with integration. It helps integrate it within who you are in a way that your body and your nervous system can tolerate it being there.
That's just, again, it's just so cool. So is there anything else that you think that people should know about myofascial release or you or your practice or anything before we are done?
Oh, I keep going back to thinking about the myth thing. And a lot of people have this assumption that myofascial release therapy has been, since John started doing this modality and developing the modality, there's been spinoffs that use the term incorrectly. They'll say it's myofascial therapy, but if the practitioner is blowing past the tissue's boundary or where there's resistance in the tissue, moving quickly, not holding that resistance or that place up against the resistance and waiting to be allowed in or allowed to sink in, it's really not true myofascial therapy. If it's fast, it's not myofascial therapy. So I hold a hold from at least 3 minutes to 10 minutes. And the reason is there's 4 phases that the tissue has to go through that make it have more of a long-term effect. It actually will change the consistency and the makeup and the connections in the tissue of the body, right down to the cellular level. So when I first place my hand down and put gentle pressure down, it creates something called piezoelectricity. The fascia, one component of the fascia is collagen, a collagenous component, and collagen is an electrical conductor. So when the pressure is placed down, it creates this electron transfer through the tissue, through the body, that starts to build this resonance between the practitioner and the person. And the restrictions start to thaw and release. So it has to be held for a longer period of time. Also, if there's no unwinding, if the unwinding is appropriate, it's not true myofascial release. If there's no rebounding is a massive part of myofascial release. And so those are principles that have to be present for it to be really true myofascial release. And people mix it up with massage therapy. And, massage therapy is very valuable. I still get massages. I think it is very therapeutic and effective, but it's not myofascial therapy. And the practitioners that have been trained in myofascial therapy are specialized. We are specialists that have been on the table and have been taken to a certain level of training that is unique, It's just different. During a session, you're clothed to a certain extent. You're not under a sheet and blanket like a massage. You're on top of the table. Women usually will wear shorts and a sports bra. Men will wear shorts. And it just looks different.
I can attest that it definitely does not feel like a massage.
Yeah.
So if it does, that's not it.
What do you feel after?
What do I feel after? Sometimes I can be sore, depending on what we've been working on or where you've put your elbow that day or your thumb. The armpit thing is the thumb, right? Yeah. Okay. So yes, that. But most of the time I just feel exhausted because just I've let so much go throughout that. Usually, what do I 75 minutes? And so I'm like a wet noodle. Sometimes every once in a while when we do stuff with my neck, I'll have a headache for a while, but that doesn't happen very often. I usually just feel totally like a wet noodle and I just want to go home. I don't do anything ever after words. I don't plan anything. I just have to go home.
And that's creating space for the reorganization. That's you knowing instinctively and intuitively that you need to give yourself time to allow things to reorganize and that healing process to continue. The healing process continues after people have walked out of the office.
Oh, for sure. Well, and I don't know if this is everybody, because I think I've only just talked to you about it happening to me, but if I don't release anything while I'm in session with you, oh, it comes flying out in my dreams. I mean, like everything is in my dreams. So I'll be like, well, I didn't really have a lot of emotion today, or I didn't have a lot of memories today.
There it goes.
Every single time. And I know we've talked about this before, because I'll text you and be like, what is what is happening? And then connecting the dots for it to make sense, like my dreams to make sense. It's always something that I'm like, oh, well, that's what that was. Okay, never mind. On to the next.
Absolutely. On to the next. And that is what embodiment looks like. You get bogged down in the stories. On to the next. Let's go forward. What's the next experience? I've got this.
Well, and it just is so freeing and just like you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders anymore.
You don't. It really is unnecessary. Yeah. I think that's really cool. A lot of people say that they just feel like we've created more space in their body.
Well, and that's probably maybe a better way of saying it than I did, because I think that because I had no space at all, that being able to just be like, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, I think the way you said it was great. I believe, and that's why I have a hard time describing it, because it's hard for me to describe someone else's experience. I can tell you mine, and it's wild, but I also know you have just as much of an experience with it that is your own, and it is so unique to, it's unique to you.
Because a lot of times I'm like waiting for the big cry or something to happen, and then it doesn't. But then like I said, then I have these crazy dreams, and it everything just makes sense.
Yeah. And and on that vein, I think we're also swinging way wide from being an emotionally constipated culture to a culture that thinks that having emotional diarrhea is healing, right? Like you see practitioners on Instagram pushing a catharsis.
Yes.
Crying out loud. Will you stop? It's really what they're doing is for the sake of their own validation as a practitioner. It's external, it's outward. And when you force it, that is one of the most damaging things a therapist of any modality could do. And so people think there has to be this big catharsis. No, there doesn't. No.
Because everyone's unique.
Everyone's unique.
Which also makes our jobs really cool, because no two of anything is the same.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Love it.
I do. Yeah.
Well, I told you I'd keep you an hour. It's been an hour and a half. I'm sorry.
All good. I enjoy talking about it, and you made it really easy. So,
well, I love educating people about it, because so many people don't even know it exists. So to be able to have a platform where we can do that, I feel it's great. So we'll have to do it again one of these days.
We will. It'll be fun. Yeah.
It'll be fun.